Hello, I'm going to show you how to enter a claim, and I'm going to show what Airstream has to go through, and we're going to take a claim and walk it all the way through the process. So what I've decided to do is use Internet Explorer, um, where I am the dealer, so this is just a made-up dealer that I have here. When I when I need to be Airstream, we'll use this login here, and that'll be Google Chrome. Add a claim, um, obviously from the menu or from the list here, or if you're already in the claims lead-in page, you can go ahead and just add it from here. So let's go ahead and add one. So here we are. We have a blank claim. And so first thing we need to do is pick our unit number. Now, if you know the unit number, you can just type it in. But if you don't know the unit number, and this says I don't know it, I can do a lookup. I'm going to widen it out just a bit here, but we can do a lookup and we can search on any of these fields. So if we know the serial number, the VIN, the model number, model description, or the chassis VIN, if we know any parts of those, we can find our unit. So I'm going to do a search, and I'm going to just pretend to search for those right there. Now I'm just going to copy and paste them in here because I really don't want to retype that. So you can see I found a match here and found a match here. And then if we want to clear that out, we just reset the filters. But let's say we know the model. So based on my search, I have three units that meet that criteria. But in my case, I do know my unit. So it's actually 530100100. Hit go, and there it is. So this is saying the warranty expiration date is not set. So this is, for whatever reason, it is not set on Airstream's side. So I'm just going to click OK. Now if you see here, make, model, year, some of that's already filled in. What's also filled in is the who's prepared that, and this is just my login ID that I'm currently created. But now that we have our unit, what I like to do is kind of save as we go along. But I might need to see if there's a prior claim against this unit, and there is. This is another claim that I was working on. It's just test info. But if you are not the same dealer that worked on that claim, you would not be able to see the dollar amount. So this is the older claim up here, and then this is the claim we're working on. Now, if you are filing a claim that's actually related to another claim, you could link the two here. So let's say you filed a claim and son of a gun, we forgot our freight. So you could fill out another claim just for freight and then link it back to here. And this would let Airstream know that this claim is actually related to a prior claim. So let's go ahead and enter some dates here. WSO date preparation. And I'm going to go ahead and use today's date. And again, I'm just going to copy and paste some of this. And I have an appointment date and the vehicle arrive date And these dates need to be pretty accurate. This is a legal document. So we need to do as we say. So a blank claim starts out with one operation automatically, but you can enter as many as needed. So let's say the first thing that happens, we're having a problem with the relay. So there's two ways to get our operation code. We can do a search where we start out with our main category, group name, and then group code. You can also do a wide open search, and you can just do a search and it just searches everything. So I tend to go here, but that's a choice. So I want to pick 12 volt system. I want to pick, I believe that's wiring, and there's relay. So I'm going to go ahead and go with this operation code here. Now this is coming up. This is telling me that this operation had been done on this VIN sometime in the past. Not necessarily the same dealer's done it, but if you recall, we had a prior claim out here, and sure enough, there's that same operation. So I'm going to go ahead and use it though, because I'm not going to use that old claim. So what's the reason for a failure? It is a component failure. So let's use that as our failure code. Now, if you notice here, the parts return field has a Y in it. That means Airstream's going to want these components back. So, and you can see that in this column here. Yes, they want the parts back, or no, they do not want the parts back. Does it require a pre-auth? Same thing, yes or no. Now, if you also notice, I have my hours here. Here's the standard hours, and that is set by Airstream, and you cannot type over that. You try as you might. Allowed hours is the same way. You cannot type over that. But let's say you need more time on here. What you can do is ask Airstream for 3/4 of an hour. Now, if you notice, the dollar amounts did not change here, because the dollar amounts is based on the allowed hours. Airstream may approve that because if you notice here, this turned red. This is going to prompt them to look at that and say, what had happened to, why does this dealer need more time? But we're going to file for that. So what was the cause? Well, the cause was the battery disconnect will not open. Okay, and let me just adjust my zoom back. I'd bump that with my mouse. So what was the remedy? Well, it was a replace. And I'm going to go ahead and put my initials. Now again, I'm one that likes to save. And if you notice, these totals all did update when I put the hours in. Now I'm going to have about 3 or 4 operations. So I can do a couple things. I can go ahead and just add operations either here or here. And I can go ahead and add a couple of them. Now if you notice, the new operation went to the top. The first operation I already entered it is actually at the moment here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and enter stuff for this operation. And I'm going to do a wide open search, and I'm going to do something about a sink. Here we go. And I'm going to put that in. And I'm going to put $180 for. So all the calculations now updated. So if you go here, you see the sublet now has the 180. My labor has been multiplied to. And let's go to this one. I'm going to go ahead and pick. So now I'm going to do the wide open search. I happen to know the code I'd used before, so I can just select it. And again, I'm getting this message because this was actually done on a prior event. So why did I pick this? Well, this is the server level black tank sensor, and we need to replace it. So what is the failure? Well, it's registering incorrectly. So here, I want to say not reading correctly. Oop, I accidentally adjusted my zoom. So here I'm going to replace sensor. And I'm going to go ahead and spell it correctly. And I'm also going to make a note here that I had to make an access hole. Now if you notice here, I didn't get any hours from the standard, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and go with 0.5 hours. And everything updated. Now, since there were no hours, in this case, the allowed hours went ahead and went with the hours I'd entered here. So if I were to change this to the quarter of an hour, it would, yes. But I'm going to go with 0.5 hours. Okay, so everything's set, ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and save. Now, if you notice, my operation 1 is back up at the top. Operation 2, which was the second one I'd entered, is number 2, and the last one I'd entered is number 3. Now let's say I do want to add a part for this one. Well, what part do I want? Well, again, I have two ways to look this up. This search only gives us a list of parts specific to this model. When we look it up, now no parts have been set, only these NPNs. So we're not going to use this. We're going to go ahead and close this, and then we're going to go with a wide open search. And I'm looking for, it's probably like a sensor. Let's see if I get lucky. No. Here we go. So I found a lot of them. Now the unit I think I want is 11789. But I want this one. And see why some of these others came up. I just want to go ahead and enter that. So all the info populates in for me. So now I need to enter quantity. Well, I just want one. And quantity is a required field. So now if you notice my totals have updated. So I got parts, now I got allowance, and I got a sublet, and I don't have any freight yet, and I got, of course, labor. So now let's go ahead and save this. And let's go ahead and add another operation. And again, it's now up on top. So let's say we're having an issue with the flooring. I don't want the wide open search. I want to narrow it down. So let's say, let's go with flooring and subflooring. Here I only have one choice, so it's not letting me pull anymore. But here, I'm going to say I have a problem with an LIM. And let's just say it's gouged. And again, this operation had been used before because of my other example. And let's go with the fair code. Let's just go with cut. So, let's say flooring was cut. And let's note it on the BOL. That's very important. We want to note that we'd already had that issue. And the remedy was a sublet. We didn't do this ourselves, so what we said is we have $75 sublet. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my initials. And I'm going to go ahead and save this. So now you can see the fourth operation is the fourth one I added, my $75 sublet, and my initials are in. Let's look at this one here. This one, I did forget my initials, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. And I'm reviewing my work here, and I see this is not something I meant to enter. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it. How do I do that? You click on the one you want to delete, and come up to the top, and then delete the selected record. So what they're talking about, anyone that's selected will be deleted. So you could select all of them, and then hit the delete button. So when you do that, when you hit the delete selected, it's going to force you to save. And that is gone just that quick. And there is no undo. So here I pretty much have the claim done. Now let's see what happens here. I need to add some freight. And let's go ahead and hit save. Now what I'm going to do, I have two choices here. I can have a request for pre-auth or go ahead and just submit for approval. If you hit submit and it requires a pre-auth, like we saw with some of the operation, or if you had 2.5 hours per operation, or if this claim was over $500, or if there was over 5 hours on the total claim, then the whole claim would require pre-auth. But I think we're pretty good there, so I'm just going to submit. And if it does require pre-auth, it will tell you that it went into a pre-auth authorization, and then why it went into that authorization would go into here. So let's go ahead and try it. I tell you what, instead of doing that, let's go ahead and just make this a lot more money. So now let's hit save. And I want to go ahead and delete that. So what I've done here is intentionally make this over $500. So when you hit submit, oh, I need a repair date is required because I am submitting it. So what I'm going to do for today is go ahead and just use these same dates. But again, you want to make these dates as accurate as possible because it is pretty important. So I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. Customer approval required. That is these check boxes here. And a signature obtained for the work authorization. That's also done. So let's go ahead and hit submit. The claim has been submitted to pending pre-auth. Click the info for more detail. So if I click on the info button, I can see the claim is over $500. I can also see there's an operation that requires pre-auth. So now just for my example here, I think I want to make the freight something more reasonable. But if you notice now, pre-auth and submit are dimmed out. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And if you notice here, we have a claim pending pre-auth, and it's this unit right here, the one I just did. So let's see what Airstream has to do. So here I'm logged in as an admin. Let's go look at claims. And there's pending pre-auth. And there's my unit, dealer 19 that I've entered. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. So let's see what they've given me here. So here's where the hours were different. I'm going to go ahead and authorize the hours. Let's see what else we got here. And here's another one where the hours were different. I'm going to go ahead and let that go. And I want to say we're not going to pay the freight. However, I also noticed I did not get a copy of the sublet. So I'm going to ask for that. So I'm going to open up the feedback, and I can see right here there are no items here for feedback. So here I'm going to go ahead and create one. It's from me. It's regarding this claim and the date and time of when I did this. So So we hit send. So that is sent. And if you notice here, the claim status went in feedback pending, and we can check the history here. So we can see as a dealer created a draft and they submitted it for pending pre-auth. But then admin came along and said, I got some feedback. So let's go ahead and close that. Let's stay on the page. Go ahead and hit save. Close. So now, if we go here, we'll see in feedback pending is the claim I was just working on. You can see also where I denied the freight. So let's go back to the dealer. Now, just click on any of these. And the only reason we're doing that is just to force the screen to refresh. So there's our claim. So here my feedback's lit up, and I can go in there and read it. And you can see he's what I needed to do. So let's go ahead and do an attachment. And I know I'm going to have, let's go ahead and just do one. Now let's say, let's just say this is the invoice I submit as my sublet. And I'm just going to give it a name. Now, if you add new right off the bat, you'll lose your file. And this is just a common Microsoft issue. But if you go ahead and hit save, you can do what you want. So you can see here I typed invoice. This is the actual file name, and you can click on this hyperlink to download that PDF. So let's go ahead and add another one. And I want to go to my desktop. Jump right there. Go ahead, let's see here. Here we go. So let's say this is a picture of floor damage. And let's attach another one. We can even attach larger zips if we wanted to put everything in one file and just do one single upload. But I could also go ahead and attach any. So here's an Excel file. I can go ahead and attach. So when you hit save, that does the actual uploading to the database. So you can see here, these three files are attached to this claim number. So let's take a look at our picture here. There it is. Nice picture of floor damage. Or if we wanted to download that file, it asks me, do you want to save it or open it? I'm just going to hit cancel. So now that is attached, and I'm going to go ahead and respond to this message. So here, so now let's look at the status of this. We've responded back to the feedback. So now it goes back into pending pre-auth. And we can look here at the history. So it was in feedback pending. And now because of my actions of responding to the feedback, it automatically went back to the status it was previously in. So let's see what a dealer or what Airstream has to say about that. So again, I'm just going to click on one of these to get a refresh. When we refresh, this feedback pending should go away. And it does. So now back to pending pre-auth. And there's my claim. So looks like we're pretty good here. I got feedback. So now everything's updated. And I'm going to go ahead and authorize the work to be done. So now let's look at our claim history. Went from back to pending pre-auth off of feedback. Now it's a pre-auth approved. So let's go ahead and close this. And if you go to pre-auth approved, if you notice our claim is gone from here because this page has been updated. It's just that quick. So let's come back over here as a dealer. Now what I should have done was close, and I'm going to do that. Pending pre-auth approved. So I know I have the one line item denied, everything. Let's say we've actually done the work, and then here we would actually enter our dates. And let's go ahead. Now maybe for my records, I want to print a copy of this. So here I can do it with or without dollars, depending on what you're doing with it. So let's view the download and open it. And there it is. So this is a nice PDF that you can print out or file on your hard drive. You can just print the little icon to print it if you need. Done with that. Close that. Now let's go ahead and say we are done with the work. So your claim has been submitted for approval. If you notice here, the status went to approval pending. And if you look at the claim history, it's the status history kind of keeps moving along. So let's go ahead and close this. And let's go back to Airstream. So again, I just want to click on one of these. So let's just click on approval pending. If you notice, that jumped up to 2. And then there's my claim. So from here, Airstream could still deny or change hours. They could deny the freight. They could actually take out the sublet, or they could deny the whole claim. They could also deny any line items here, any operations. But there's no reason to deny this, so let's go ahead and approve it. So now it's return tag pending. So again, you can see the claim history just keeps updating itself. So let's go ahead and close that. And if you notice here, we have 1 in return tag pending, which is our claim. So let's go ahead and go back here. Now if you notice, you don't see return tag pending, but if we just click on any of these, that'll get a refresh from the database. Oh, I gotta send some parts back. Oops, we didn't add any parts. But that's all right. So I'm going to create my tag. And there is a tag number. Now I want to edit that. And it has all the pertinent information that we were able to get. And I'm going to ship it back UPS. And I'm just going to put in some tracking number. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Now I could print off the tag from here, or if something was wrong, or not necessary, I could go ahead and delete the tag. But I think I'm done. So I'm going to close that. So hit save. So we're still in return tag pending. So what should have happened, we print off the label, we put it in the box. Airstream should get that back at some point, and then what they're going to do is come in and receive it. And then hit save. So now the claim has automatically gone to approved. And this did not require management approval. That would be if the claim was over $500. So now everybody is done. So the next step is for this claim. If you notice here, if we go to approve, there it is. The next step for this claim will be to get posted. And posted means that Airstream will put this into their accounting system and then mark it as posted, and that will set up the payment. This is an automatic process that takes place at night. So just as one more glance, we're going to go into claim status history, and you can see it is approved on today at 8:16 p.m. Okay, so I just wanted to go back in, and I'm wanting to see if my claim got posted. There it is under the posted um, category. And if you go in here and look at the history, we can see it got posted 4:10, 2:50 p.m. I just manually ran it to force it to run. But normally this happens about 6 o'clock that night.